All right, we're going to get things kicked off here. You're watching TGBF. We've got the championship match of the Starcraft Showdown to show you this evening. We're all very excited for this. It's been a really huge week of play that we've been watching here, and it's going to culminate tonight. We've got Syckness and Nadagast, and they are squaring off for the championship here in this inaugural season. With me, kicking the show off tonight, I do have the one, the only, the Smeagol. What's going on, pal?
Kicking it off. Off the hinges, maybe. So.
How you been?
Whoa, exams.
Whoa, exams.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I had to uninstall Starcraft so that I wouldn't play. Because it's way too much effort to reinstall Starcraft and play than just click in.
It is.
And actually, the last day of exams, the last night, right? I'm up at the library. It's like 4 o'clock in the morning. Walk into the lobby. There's a 24-hour coffee shop on the ground floor, and there are 2 Korean kids sitting there playing Starcraft 2. It was very annoying.
Just rub it in your face. And we're doing this stream, and I'm telling you about it, and yeah, it's I'm sure it was a rough week for you too.
Yeah, well, I told you not to text me and tell me that you were playing, or tell me that you were playing generally.
I tried to keep myself to that.
You respect it.
In any case, we're gonna your exams are all done. Hopefully, those of you watching, your exams are all done if you're in school, or maybe you don't have work tomorrow, or maybe you're just gonna take it off anyway. I don't know. Hope that you're you have cleared your schedule for the entirety of this broadcast, because it's going to be good. We got a best of 5 between Syckness and Nadagast. We saw them play 3 last night, and it was pretty decidedly one-sided. So we hope that maybe there were some lessons taken away from those matches, and they were good fights regardless, so that's not to take anything away from the performance of either player. But in any case, we're going to get into the matches here. On the line is a top-of-the-line graphics card from NVIDIA. Second place is going to take away a solid-state drive anyway, so they're not walking away empty-handed. That's what's on the line. Without any further ado,
how big is the solid-state drive?
60 gigabytes, I believe.
Yeah, I think that sounds about right. Yep.
Well,
See, our guy that has been plugging all the product placements the entire broadcast it's his birthday today. It's Andy Zoom's birthday, so happy birthday out to Andy Zoom. But
that cough was for him. Happy birthday.
In any case, being such that it is his birthday, he's not here, watching video games with us. So. Anyway.
Oh, you mean that's not how everybody spends their birthday?
Yeah, usually not. I
had no idea.
Any case, we're going to toss it into the booth with Fish Sticks and Eckstein to get this one kicked off, get our map selected, and introduce our players a little bit more. So take it away, guys.
Oh my God. Hey. It's going to be Syckness, our Zerg player, versus Nadagast tonight. And it's going to be awesome. Syckness has shown us a lot of skills, a lot of tricks, as has Nadagast, with a lot of sharp play. What are your thoughts on this matchup real quick, Ben? And then we'll do the map picks and get this ball rolling.
Well, we've seen these guys play each other already once in this tournament. It's also notable to remind you guys that they are indeed brothers. In this matchup right now, it's for all the cheese and all the cookies and all that stuff. So there's going to be a bit of extra pressure put on these guys, as the winner of this match does get a sweet new NVIDIA card. So far, we've seen Nadagast play pretty dominantly throughout this entire thing so far. He's a more proven player, I'd say. He took top 8 at MLG this year, and is a little bit more well-known in the scene. However, Syckness is no slouch, so it's really going to come down to tonight. That's all I can say.
Yeah, definitely. Now we're just going to handle the map picks real quick. Because Nadagast edged ahead in the round robin due to his head-to-head record against Syckness. He's coming in as our #1 seed. He's going to get first pick on maps to eliminate, and then we're also going to let him choose what the first map to be played is, and then after that we'll continue with the convention of the loser of that map picking the next one. So Just waiting on Nadagast to choose his first map to eliminate.
I'll eliminate Blistering Sands.
Awesome. And Syckness, are you going to stick with the one you messaged me earlier?
Yeah, I'm gonna go with jungle.
Attaboy. So our map pool for tonight is going to be Shakuris, Lost Temples, Scrap Station, Zelnaga, and Metalopolis. Nadagast, once again, it is your time to choose.
Let's do Lost Temple first.
Alrighty, Lost Temple first it is. I'm going to recreate this lobby, and as soon as we get everybody in here, it's going to be time to rock.
Alright.
Let's do this.
You guys want to say anything to your brothers to wind them up real quick?
I don't want to shit talk Ryan.
That's cool. Much respect.
Sorry.
Guys are really good manners. That's cool. Respectable.
Yeah.
Not BM.
Who's the older brother, by the way, out of curiosity?
Me. Nadagast.
Nadagast. Word. Okay. We have the three of us in here. No Andy Zoom tonight. And no Smeagol in game.
I'm not playing. Okay, there we go.
All right, countdown is started. Good luck, have fun, gentlemen. Again, this is a best of 3 series. And
Best of 5?
A best of 5. Oh my God, messed it up. Best of 5.
We haven't even started yet, and you messed up. Come on.
I know it's terrible. I'm very excited for this. And at Lost Temple, spawn positions are going to be crucial. It's also going to determine whether the Thor drops are going to be an effective strategy, and just determine how this game plays out.
All right.
Yeah, still loading up for me.
I'm loading.
Loading. If only we all had SSD drives.
Indeed. Well, welcome to Game 1 of the championship match of the Starcraft 2 Showdown, brought to you by TGBF and sponsored by NVIDIA and Patriot Memory. Thanks for tuning in, folks. We hope to be bringing you a pretty awesome match. The map is Lost Temple, and our player in the top 12 o'clock position is Syckness as the pink Zerg. Down in the 6 o'clock position, we have Nadagast as the red Terran. Eckstein, take us away.
So yeah, very far spawn positions. It means this is going to be very interesting, and the player's going to have a lot of room to run at each other. I mean, we still might get the drops, especially since the medevacs help to transport your units quickly across the map. I mean, much faster than walking. So we could very well see some aggressive drops from Nadagast. He's kind of, we saw unconventional action from Torch, but Nadagast seems to be a much more conventional Terran, and just kind of cramming those bio units down your throat until you want to give up. So we'll probably see more of that today. And also, once we get the scout of the long position, which he'll know fairly shortly once that drone gets over to his left side to the 9 o'clock position, I'm sure as soon as he scouts that, he's going to throw down a hatchery, the way the timings are working out here. Looks like the drone's already heading there.
Yep. Takes 300 minerals to throw down that hatchery, and we've seen many Zerg players tend towards the hatchery first, especially in maps with long position. Looks like that's exactly what Syckness is up to. Over on the Terran side, the barracks is about 3/4 of the way done. He has not yet scouted where his opponent is at, but I think he was able to see the Overlord in this 3 o'clock scouting position, so he probably has a pretty good idea of where his brother is at.
Yeah, definitely.
Now, Syckness's drone is just making its way up into Nadagast space, but a nice little wall off there with the SCV. He's going to have to bring up another SCV to help repair that thing, or not.
No.
Syckness with a little bit of miss micro.
Oh, he got through at the end.
I don't know how he got through there. Looked like a solid wall off, but was able to get through, but a death was the only thing he got at that point. Actually, looks like Nadagast has 400 minerals. That means a 1 Rax expand for him as well. Pretty safe play, as he sees that the spawning pool is not even halfway done.
Yeah, very smart. Heads up. He'll just keep grinding out SCVs, drop his first mule, and you know, throw out more Marines as he's got the time for it. Although even actually going to use his 19th supply for another SCV, I believe. And now going for double refineries.
I like this play. Gearing up for a really big tech makes sense on the longer positions. We might see some Hellions come out. We might see some Banshees. It's kind of it's yet to be seen. No real tech decisions made at this point in the game. Let's just take a look at the income tab. Right now, Syckness is ahead by just 1 drone, but that lead, I think, is about to widen as he's getting his queen out at his natural expansion. Is going to be able to build a bit more larva in the next few seconds.
Yeah, getting the queens out and pumping the larva is definitely crucial as a Zerg player. Sending out a couple of Zerglings to do some scouting and is at least going to take control of this top Zelnaga tower by killing the SCV. And we got a nice little trap there. A bunker going down at the foot of his expansion. You know, or the ramp at his main, whatever. Definitely going to help with the protection there with those 3 Marines that he's got. And there's 2 Zergling are just about to run in here. Yeah, he sees the bunker, so he's going to be very cautious. It forces the Marines out, but they'll be able to deal with that very quickly. Sees the expansion coming in. Of course, the bunker definitely clued him in on that. Oh, double factory. Maybe Thor drops.
A little surprised we saw Nadagast land that expansion so quickly. His brother did get a good scout on what was going on there. You know, when we've seen these two guys play, they really opt for more defensive-oriented strategies in the beginning, in the early game. Right now we see a bunker down, getting thrown down somewhat blindly by Nadagast. And then over on Syckness' side, we see 2 spine crawlers also being thrown down somewhat blindly. So both expecting some kind of pressure, or at least worried about that pressure. If you go over to Nadagast's natural expansion, you can actually see it looks like he's walled off right there completely. That's a really interesting wall off. I don't think I've actually seen that before. I might be wrong on that, but building a reactor on that racks is going to completely wall off, not allowing any Zerg to get into the main of Nadagast. So Nadagast now has 2 Hellions out in the field. He's going to be able to get a little bit of map knowledge, gain control of these Zelnaga towers with these Hellions. And here they come, roasting the first Zergling, and now they're moving on to the second Zelnaga tower. So that's he's gonna at least get some scouting information going down pretty soon. Although Syckness already does have a roach up, so that roach is gonna be very effective counter to those Hellions, and those 2 spine crawlers might actually. It looks like the queen is actually blocking the ramp of Syckness, so those Hellions might not actually be able to make any dent into the worker count or even make it into his Syckness's base. But yet they are still really nice for gaining control of the map and gaining vision. That's exactly what they're going to do.
Yeah, definitely. He was a little scared off at first with that first roach, who is still doing a decent amount of work, getting damaged up quite a bit, but has got 1 Hellion in the red, another in the orange, and now the queen coming out to try and finish off the 1 roach. Oh, the spine crawler's doing work. And he's going to see the spire in the back, though. Getting, oh no, not trapped, maybe? Hard to say. Nope, he's moving through, and not too many drones taken out, but he's putting a lot of damage on some of them before finally getting finished off with the spine crawler. And the first Thor is on his way. A second tech lab going down for the other factory, and he already has, yeah, that armory is up and working on the vehicle weapons level 1. So you know, that's easy to feel confident when you see your opponent's next tech is Spire and you already have Thors on the way.
Absolutely. Actually, those Hellions, I didn't expect them to get so much valuable information and kill so many drones. Excuse me. They were actually able to roast quite a few of those drones, and they did see the Spire, which is so very important. Oh yeah, here come the Hellions again. They do have blue flame, which allows them to do so much damage to drones. And he's actually microing quite well. Nadagast is. He's going to actually be able to get this Hellion into the main of his brother. He's going to see that there's an extra hatchery spawning.
That's interesting.
Actually, I really like the Terran vehicle weapons upgrade. I actually don't think you really rarely see Terrans get that vehicle upgrade so early. It's actually allowing. Oh, here comes the first. No, that's not a Mutalisk. That's an Overlord. Take it back.
Yeah, he's throwing down a Baneling nest as well to just be prepared. But looks like, yeah, throwing out a couple mutas. 2 on the way. It doesn't have a whole lot of Vespian gas, though. Was going to attack his gold expansion rocks, but getting dragged back in by these 3 Hellions.
I'm actually going to point out really quickly that Nadagast has the lead in harvesters, and because of those extra mules, his income is actually skyrocketing above his brothers. So
Wow.
he's going to be able to get out a ton of Thors really early on in this game, and that vehicle +1 upgrade is already done. So mutas are not going to stand a chance against that many Thors. The one weakness I do see for Nadagast right now is he is lacking bio almost completely, almost no bio at all.
Yeah. And still on 2 racks, which isn't that many at this point in the game. And throwing down another command center, so he's not going to be throwing down any more barracks at any time soon. Syckness threw down a double evolution chamber. I mean, I think he's a little bit pressed for gas, and he's working on those rocks by the gold expansion. Going to need to expand again soon. The Hellions are looking to see if there's any other expansion anywhere else. In the meantime, those Syckness actually, oh yeah, those Hellions.
Did he see them?
The expansions. No, I don't think so.
Oh wow, that was so incredibly close.
Yeah. Oh wow, great though attack on these Hellions and gonna corner them in. You can actually reveal those mutas. Chooses not to. And again, I don't think Nadagast scouted him.
So close. The edge of his vision was just like millimeters away from those mutas. I think the mutas did get vision of the Hellions though, but Nadagast does know that those roaches are out of position, so he actually might have an opportunity to push in.
Mutas coming in though. They're running into 2 towers or 2 turrets down at the bottom. Not going to be able to do much damage, but definitely going to see what's going on in Nadagast's space. And Nadagast is still at that 1 Xel'Naga tower, pulling some of his Thors back and his Marines, leaving actually the tanks undefended. So if he swoops over to that Xel'Naga tower, those forces are actually unintended. Oh, 2 barracks getting canceled. Great harassment from mutas. Yeah, here he is. He's going to run into these tanks right now, and these tanks are just going to get picked off by those mutas.
Oh man, one thing about Thors, they're great anti-air, but they're so damn slow, so he cannot get them into position quick enough. Already losing 1 or 2 tanks, but Nadagast is still in a comfortable position. He is moving his third base over to the gold minerals. Both players have taken the gold minerals already, but Nadagast is actually going to be able to start mining a little bit earlier than his brother. He additionally has a sensor tower up, so he's going to know exactly what's going on with his opponent if mutas do try to harass that natural or come around the back.
Yeah, Syckness also has a 4th expansion that's going to finish in just a second, a little bit after the gold expansion. A 4th expansion on the left-hand side of the map, which I definitely don't think has not been scouted. Oh, those 3 barracks finishing now, just 1 missile turret protecting them. So I mean, if he pokes in with these mutas, he could lose some, take out that turret, and again harass the barracks and production facilities of Nadagast.
Syckness should be transferring over some more of those drones. His main is totally oversaturated, and he is completely undersaturated at his 4th expansion or 4th base. So you know that 4th base has not come into play at all yet for our Zerg player. Actually picking up a 5th base right now, Syckness is. So actually, if Nadagast doesn't start to do some harass or at least scout, well, there's the scouting. Just as I say it, the Hellions are moving out to scout these positions. The mutas are going to see it, but they're not going to be able to stop these Hellions from at least scouting.
Kind of interesting that he only grabbed 1 muta out of that stack. Figure, you know, the mutas have already been seen, and they're the only defense. Now he's moving them over. Must have just been a little busy doing some macro for a moment. Misses the Hellions running out. Oh, his main army's got him. He got a lot more banelings. About 10 banelings there. And now the extra gas and income is starting to pay off for Syckness. A slight lead in supply, although both players getting extremely close to the 200 mark. And another expansion being squared away by Nadagast. He's got the sensor tower, so he's not going to actually see all that creep. I mean, he sees the Overlord on the right-hand side. That creep's going to get in the way of a couple of his potential locations. Looks like he's going to move out to the left-hand side to attack those expansions and force a battle with Syckness. Syckness hasn't really totally connected to all of his bases with creep. This is going to be huge. Zerglings moving in. Banelings starting to come in now. Banelings connecting. And the roaches are going to be cleaning up here. The muta's coming in as well. The Thors are distracted. Roaches have taken a lot of damage, though. Wow,
oh, man.
The combination of the siege tanks and Thors are just too much.
Yeah, just taking a look at the javelin missile launchers of the Thors. They've got already +2 attack and +1 defense. So let's go check out what the upgrades are. Just +1/+1 for our Zerg players. So that was a huge factor in that battle. Gonna retreat with some of those Thors. Nadagast should be repairing the Thor with just 26 HP. Hate to see the poor guy go into battle with that dent in his armor. But you know, Zerg is able to mass units extremely quickly. So although Nadagast did do a ton of damage, his brother is quickly regaining that supply. He is down by quite a bit right now, but he will very soon be right back up there with 5 bases. Actually, the 5th is not mining yet, so that's a little bit of a blunder there. Looks like some drones are being transferred over. Very nice creep spread, though. It's already made it to midfield, which is very important as a Zerg player. It's going to allow Syckness to feel much more comfortable in these forward positions, which he's going to need to take if he wants to defend all 5 of those bases.
Moving his spine crawlers up to help protect the middle as well. Still settling down, though, so going to get picked off, actually. A little unfortunate. And he's got a decent amount of banelings. Again, about like 10 banelings. Oh, coming in here. Wow, totally surrounding this army. This is a huge battle. This is madness right now. Zerglings and roaches starting to pick off some Thors. 2 are down. There's still 4 up and a couple siege tanks. Yeah, he's got to pull back just to get out of the range of those siege tanks for a while. This army is big, though, and wants to move on and take out expansions. This is going to be tough. I mean, he's got 40 Zerglings in production, 12 roaches. But you know, this is going to be really tough to take out this army. Oh, now he's starting to make good moves in, but still, just too many units from Nadagast.
I must say, I'm so impressed with the unit composition that Nadagast has been able to put together. He forces those roaches so early in almost every game with the Hellions, but then he quickly transitions to +1 ground upgrades for his mech, and then plenty of tanks and Thors. The Thors help deal with the Mutalisks. They tank all of the Banelings, and they also do so well against roaches. And then he throws just a few more blue flame Hellions and a few more Marines to deal with the influx of Zerglings. He pretty much has every single base covered, and I think we're going to see GG anytime now.
Yeah, the gold is down, and the left-hand expansions are going down as well. You know, which basically just leaves the main expansion, the only one mining. He's got a greater Spire down, which I noticed, but you know, which is a great counter to mech, but has not been able to bring those Brood Queens into his army yet.
Actually, Brood Lords would be a pretty interesting mix, but I think it's a little bit too late at this point. Pretty much all Syckness has at his front is a bit of Banelings, while his you know, his 4th and 5th base are being quickly taken down. Actually, a lot of Marines getting taken down by some roaches and a few Banelings, so he's going to be able to defend this 4th base for just a little bit of time, but still not going to stop the onslaught, which is Nadagast pushing straight into Syckness's front with 6 Thors and looks like 5, 6, 7 tanks and a ton of Marines. So I think it's going to be GG in a second, unless those Banelings get some crucial hits. No, the Banelings go for the mech instead of the Marines. I think that's enough to call GG right there, but still Syckness is trying to hold on.
And he's got his level 3 weapons going on, his Nadagast, as well as vehicle armor level 2. He's attacking this hive, and this hive is going to go down. It's a hatchery at the main, so yeah, there it is, finally. The GG.
Think about it, so very long to get out, so that tech switch was maybe just a little bit too late.
Yeah, definitely. Very interesting game. Let's throw it back to our main hosts, Shedder and Smeagol, as we get this second game set up. Why don't you guys share your thoughts on it, please?
All right, thanks, Eckstein. Yeah, Smeagol, what'd you think of that?
Well, I thought the resource control seemed really important. Clearly, it always is. It always is. But I've never seen such decent play by a Terran before, so I don't know. I didn't have all that many times in strategy.
Probably because you play far too much with me. That's the problem.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. That's definitely part of it. That's definitely
I think tech was the name of the game there. Really, if those Thors hadn't been teched up properly, as we saw, there was that one crucial fight where I think the numbers were more or less even. A Syckness might have actually had a larger composition of units, but those Thors were just dealing out so much damage. And also, we saw a little bit of Baneling play that didn't quite work out. They were hitting the mechs instead of the meaty bio units. So yeah, interesting stuff.
I think it was marginal, though. I think it was marginal, like you said. I mean, the techs on the Thors, and also you get a few more Mutalisks. They get really obnoxious. But I mean, on the whole, with Zerg, I get kind of bored with Mutalisks. So I'd like to see some a little bit different stuff. But clearly, these guys have played against each other a lot.
All right, back into the booth, Fish Nextine with map number 2.
Countdown almost finished. Take us to the load screens. Metalopolis is the choice. Syckness losing that first map, getting the choice and going with Metal. Again, this is another 4 spawn point map, so it'll be very interesting to see where the players end up. I liked Syckness's macro in that game, and I thought for a moment there in the mid game he was going to be able to overwhelm his brother and get the unit count out there that he needed to. But those Hellions are so good at harassing the Zerg early when they're not really ready to deal with it. And forcing those roaches out like you talked about. So with these close spawn positions, it'll be interesting to see if Nadagast keeps up the aggression, keeps Syckness on his back toes, and then continues to get ahead in the tech. But yeah, I'm interested to see if he sticks with Thors, or if that was a map choice, a map-based tech decision, or whatnot. What are your thoughts on the Thors? I mean, you think that's a good all-around Terran unit, Fishsticks?
I mean, every unit has its own use, except for maybe battle cruisers. Or no, not battle cruisers. What are the Protoss ones? Carriers, right. No one uses those things. But other than that, almost every single unit in the game has its time and place. Looks like Nadagast actually did send out an SCV to see that Overlord coming into his base, so he knows it's coming, and he knows that his brother is in the close by air spawn positions, not so close by ground. So we might see some airplay in this game. Again, thank you so much for joining us tonight. We're happy to bring you the grand finale between Syckness and Nadagast. There is an NVIDIA GTX 460 on the line, so there's a lot to play for right now. Man, getting a little sick today, but no big deal. Looks like, yeah, there's the 14 hatch. Hatch first, once again, for Syckness. Seems to be working out decently, except for he hasn't really had a great answer for the early Hellion harass. We'll see if that Hellion harass happens once again. I think it just might. I think it will. It won't be happening anytime very soon, though, because it takes a bit of gas to get up to the 100 needed for the factory.
There's the pool going down as well, so 14 hatch, 15 pool. And taking an extractor as well, so definitely gas is going to be an important part of his strategy, not just grinding out a couple Zerglings, or a whole swarm of them rather. Marine coming in to try to chase the Overlord, but the Overlord has already been shifted away by Syckness, and it'll be interesting to see again. Oh, Nadagast going for the factory. Good timing on that. Must have just gotten 100. Yeah, you got 100 gas, and then switched his SCVs back to minerals. Important resource control right there.
Indeed. So yeah, looks like the factory is being popped out. I think we're going to see a Hellion very soon. Whether or not he goes for the blue flames again in this game is yet to be seen. Last game we saw him, Nadagast that is, pull a 1 Rax expand. But this time, no such thing, although it's a 1 Rax, 1 factory expand. Pretty economic heavy build once again. But he will be getting out those Hellions even earlier than in the last game. So Syckness also, once again, just like last game, is getting out that Roach Warren, probably to defend against these Hellions that are probably coming his way. But 4 Marines are also making their way out of Nadagast's base. The nice thing about Hellions is they're quite quick. So by the time all of those Marines get to the front of Syckness's base, that Hellion will have caught up quite easily. Only 2 roaches in production are not going to be able to deal with this force right away. Might have to pull some drones off the line.
3rd and a 4th as well now.
Oh yeah, 4 roaches should be able to deal with it. I'm actually surprised to see no spine crawler yet. In this game,
he didn't really get to fully see the size of this army coming in at him.
Now he knows.
Yeah.
And actually, Nadagast says, "Screw that! My bio is gonna melt to this steaming hot acid out of the roach's mouth. So I'm gonna come home."
I was kind of surprised he had an SCV that was returning back home once this force moved out at first. I was a little surprised that he didn't bring that SCV with and maybe do an aggressive bunker play, but apparently no desire there. Now these roaches coming out, and a good micro sending the hurt roach backwards. Gonna at least clear out all these Marines, so good play by Syckness, catching his opponent napping a little bit at the Zelnata Tower. That's a pretty serious blow. I mean, you know, now he's got to throw up more barracks to, you know, reinforce his bio ball. I mean, he lost most of his bio there. Now just down to 2 Hellions and a Marine and a Marauder coming out, and that's his army. Only against 4 roaches, but yeah, 4 more on their way. Actually, 8 more on their way. He's taking a lot of damage at first from these Hellions. This might not be the best attack from Syckness.
Yeah, this tank could have come second earlier for Nadagast. This tank doing miracle work, but not enough SCVs repairing. The tank could go down. Does the tank go down? No, the tank survives. That's absolutely huge. That's going to make this roach push pretty much moot point. He only has 4 left and 4 bio getting on the field. That tank is getting repaired up. So Nadagast, that just goes to show you how important small little, you know, almost, you know, plays like that just the pixel of difference could have changed everything. Now Syckness is actually in an uncomfortable position, I would say. He does have a number of more roaches and lings coming out, but those lings don't have speed. But those lings actually might be the right tech choice, as there aren't very many Marines out on the field.
And I mean, he's stayed about even on the harvester count with his brother, so Syckness is doing all right. That tank going down quick. Lings coming after the Marauders as well, trying to get behind his wall quickly. The Lings getting through, though, going to stop the supply depots from being brought back up. He's got stim pack on that tech lab right at the front of the wall. 3 SCVs behind, attacking the roaches, so pushing in here. 1 Marauder just barely up. The SCV going down actually would have been a brutal move to go for that tech lab, but that stim is gonna finish. But he is destroying a number of SCVs here and doing some serious damage to the economy of Nadagast. So this constant pressure from Syckness is paying off. Wow, he's hugely ahead in harvesters now, 50 to 20. These roaches just continuing to do work in here. Another Marauder just spawned out, but he's got no units building besides SCVs. So, yeah, that 1 Marauder running down to a bunker, and Syckness doesn't care about that. He's just going to stay in the base, keep killing the SCVs that are over here. Got to be careful from that 1 Hellion. Another Hellion. Oh, it's another siege tank being produced, but he is doing so much damage.
I know Nadagast isn't quite out of this game yet, but it's so close. He has to play this perfectly if he wants to survive that. That Hellion going down is actually a pretty big deal. This tank is about to pop, but I don't think 1 tank versus 4 roaches is going to work too well. He's going to have to micro this perfect. Oh, 2 Marauders coming out actually at the perfect timing.
Oh, wow,
I think that's going to allow him to clean this up and maybe build some defense.
Yeah, he's got a good amount of unit producing buildings now. But the harvest account is just ridiculous, 50 to 16. And Syckness couldn't really put the forces together. You know, I mean, he was attacking, focused on his attack, and then he was just droning up while he was attacking. And he couldn't rally a reinforcement group of army. But now, wow, he's just spending his minerals. Throws down a Spire. He's got a double expansion at gold and at the top position, which is just huge. He's finally finishing metabolic boost, and maybe once that's finished, yeah, 1 speedling going in there to see what's going on. Should see the first tank. I don't think he saw the second tank, but also the bunker there. So maybe once he gets a little bit more roaches, maybe he's a little too Zergling heavy right now to take on a nicely defended bunker. Nadagast's Viking, though, doing great work. Going to see this second expansion. and then it'll be curious if he doubles back around and gets the gold. As it stands right now, he's checking the other locations, but isn't rallied over to check the gold. Yeah, he's not spotted the gold expansion yet.
So Nadagast is feeling ballsy enough to try to take a position on this map. Looks like Syckness's troops are not rallied together right now. He's going to have to retreat all the way home. Some of these roaches could have been picked off if one of those marauders got stimmed and used those concussive shells, but looks like Nadagast is going for the elevator. He's going to siege those tanks up on the high ground. And
Syckness hasn't seen it yet. He still hasn't seen it. His army is still down low. Oh, he's transferred. Now they're moving in, but this is too late. The entire army is already at the cliff.
Oh, Syckness.
Too much for Syckness. Oh,
he's actually going to be able to take down one of the... What the hell did Nadagast just pull? I thought he was going to lose this game for sure about 2 minutes ago, but all of a sudden, he's looking like it's an amazing position. And Syckness is actually not bringing enough troops at a time. He's just bringing in a few roaches, and that's not going to be even close to enough right now. Although there are no Marines in this dealio, so you know, there's no anti-air for Syckness, so he's not going to be able to stop this medevac play. And again, you know, it felt like Nadagast just did so much damage in that battle, but you have to remember that Syckness has the gold expansion and another. He needs to transfer drones over right now to that gold expansion. I really hate to see that gold expansion not get utilized fully. This seems to be a recurring trend in Syckness's play. Not to get down on him or anything. I probably would do the same thing, but he was not capitalizing on the fact that he had 2 extra bases, and he spent so many resources on those bases as well, that all of the sudden Nadagast has started to equalize the worker count, and that's a pretty big deal because he's moving out once again with quite a big army. X-Time, take it away.
Sorry, I'm getting a little distracted by all the different things going on in this game, and I think Syckness too is also just trying to build an army that's too big for Nadagast to compete. You know, Syckness is the baneling's on the side here. Oh, gets a couple good hits at the end, but a good splitting by Nadagast, who he's pulled his Marines back and kept his Marauders together. Syckness has a big supply advantage of 30, but I mean his opponent Nadagast is moving out, and he's got a strong army here. Syckness has a lot of roaches and a good amount of lings, building more roaches as well and getting some upgrades. But Nadagast is doing good work with these siege tanks, pushing them forward. Losing a lot of his bio though, trying to play footsie on that gold expansion, which he's now spotted. Syckness loses his queen and trying to rally more troops. He's going to get some mutas out, which will be very helpful. The siege tanks have been left behind. One of them is moving up, depending on where those mutas come from, but they're still quite a few seconds out. Clash coming in now, some good banelings. Trying not to use them on the roaches and connecting with them, a bunch of them appropriately, but that last siege tank in the back is doing a ton of damage. The medevacs are out of energy. The mutas are nearby, but it's a great force by Nadagast. Just keeping the pressure up. He's still behind by 20 harvesters, but moving in on this gold expansion is going to be big. This is going to keep him in the game. He was so far behind for a second there. I mean, 19 harvesters to 50, just insane. But battling on like a madman and forcing the gold expansion getting cleared out. Go ahead, Fish Sticks.
I'm a little worried about Syckness's choices to move in with all those roaches. Those siege tanks were really well placed, and for some reason Syckness decided to move in and start going for the bio first. As a Zerg player, especially with roaches on the field, I think the smart choice would really be to go for the siege tanks first. They have such insane damage output. Now Nadagast actually has almost a fully saturated third base, so 3 base Terran versus 3 base Zerg. This game has totally shifted its momentum.
Yeah, without a doubt. And I mean, where these tanks are too is like, yeah, exactly. He's going for the elevator play again. I was just gonna call that out. I mean, he just slowly creep his way back up here. The overlords are gonna see it, you know, but it's whether Syckness is going to respond. Oh, he's moving his overlords away. It's just going to be a second before he brings his army up. The siege tanks are up, though, pounding away at those Evo chambers. And wow, the Banelings have gotten right on top of this force, though. Oh, go back to Syckness's favor. Oh, picking up a bunch of those units and now dropping them off on the other side. The Mutas now backing out of there, not wanting to take the Marines on. Getting dragged into the fight again, though. Syckness has got to get on top of his units and pull those expensive Mutas out. Rest of his units starting to come in. Actually, if he clears out these Marines, he'll be able to use the Mutas to clear out the medevacs. And actually sending a ton of overlords with his army. I guess to just, help shield those Mutas, but this is going to be tough. He's got a ton of units there, no Banelings. Those roaches just melting away. And again, I think he just got lured into a death trap right there by Nadagast.
So Nadagast has scanned that top expansion by Syckness, so he knows what's going on. He knows that pressure will not be in the immediate term because 2 new expansions have been thrown up, and instead he's bringing a medevac all the way up there. He's going to be doing some drone harass at that top expansion. If Nadagast can spot this with the Muta, he might be able to do some damage, but no, this is actually going to be brutal. Nadagast is going to scout both of these expansions, and Syckness's army is nowhere to be seen. There's no creep connecting these bases.
Oh, man. Yeah, it'll be a brutal drop once he goes down. He's seen the other expansion as well, but right now going for where all the drones are at, which is smart. Marines dropping out. Drones being forced to run away. The Queen does as well. A second Queen pops out, but still, he's not going to want to get involved in this fight. Marines coming over, going to, oh, Queen getting away. Oh, drops a creep to her right before he dies. She dies, excuse me. A little gender confusion there.
That's just fine. Syckness did not lose any drones in that battle. He has lost some valuable mining time, and also in the meantime, Nadagast has thrown down an expansion at the gold. So looks like this game might be going on for quite some time now, as Nadagast was not able to really effectively do any damage. At that point, he only stopped the mining for just a bit, and this medevac is going to go down for sure. There are plenty of Mutas there. The Mutas do not yet have the upgraded attacks.
Oh, Nadagast's army is moving in on Syckness's expansion. Sorry to cut you off, but this is going to be a crucial battle. Now it's like the rest of Syckness's army is going to be coming in from behind. Roach is targeting the tanks, and oh my god, the Banelings destroying that bio army. Wow.
Huge play right there.
Wow, the Mutas are going to clear up almost all of those medevacs who are running back home, squealing like little piggies. He should be staying right on top of them, trying to finish off as many of them as he can. There's 4 of them in the red. There he goes, killing them quickly. Now move this army in here and clear out this gold base before it can get started. That is what Syckness is going to have to do. Oh, the siege tank going up, but the Mutas are going to take it down quickly. Thors are out. I didn't see those being produced. But coming over to help secure this gold expansion, morphing into a planetary fortress so he can hold on to it.
Here comes the magic box. He might be able to take out one of the Thors. No, 2 Thors left with very, very few hit points left. Nadagast is going to be able to repair both of those Thors. Syckness has got to feel really, really bad about that, because both of those Thors were really, really weak, and he just lost his entire air force. And look at that, so many SCVs coming to mine from these luscious, delicious, tasty gold minerals. That's going to be putting him quite a bit ahead in terms of, let's take a look at the harvesting rate. Actually, wow, Nadagast is totally destroying in terms of mineral collection. He's got 2,500 at his rate, while his brother is at 1,800. So he has the huge economic advantage now. And he seems to be finally gaining some control over this huge map. Now, Syckness does have 5 mining bases right now, working on the gold expansion, but his army is tiny in comparison.
Moving in towards Nadagast's gold. The Baneling's going in and get a good amount of bio, but still a ton of mech in here. And he's taking out
planetary fortress too.
Tank. Wow, he's got so much pressure on top of him. With a ton of units. Yeah, we
say Yeah, go ahead.
We haven't seen him bust out the Broodlords, which, as we mentioned in the last map, is really great counter to those Thors. You can stay outside of their range, hit them on the ground. It's also very effective against siege tanks. And really what the Broodlords are for, you know, combining with some mutas to give you a little bit of air protection. You got to watch out for your opponent transitioning over to Vikings. But, you know, there's only one starport from Nadagast, and a lot of Zerg players like to use the Broodlords as a transition. You produce a batch of Broodlords, and once your opponent goes Vikings, then you switch over to Ultralisks, and then you just overrun them on the ground. Gold expansion is up for Syckness, and he just transferred a whole load of workers over there, but the sensor tower going down is going to see that, and Nadagast is moving out. Right on the left-hand side. He's pretty close by Syckness's army, but Syckness is still morphing in more Banelings. Oh God, Banelings are great. They're doing huge damage to the bio and taking out 2 tanks, but this Thor army is huge. There's 7 Thors out for Nadagast, and that is just tough to deal with.
Syckness needs to rethink his army composition. His brother, I'd say the one thing that Nadagast has impressed me with the most is just having such a unique mix of units, making it so difficult to find one good tech path to counter it. But Nadagast has been very stubborn, just building a few Mutalisks here and there, a few Speedlings here and there, and sticking mainly with Roaches, which, as any Zerg player probably knows, tanks and Thors do quite a bit of damage against. Syckness has also pushed in when the battle was really not in his favor a number of times now. And here also, once again, as trademarked by our Terran player, we're about to see +2 attack for the ground mech, and +3 is actually now going down for the bio, as well as the Infernal Pre-Igniter for those Hellions. So just buffing up his army quite a bit right now. Not nearly as many upgrades for our Zerg player is going to make, you know, this a really, really hard battle to fight when your opponent's units just keep getting stronger and stronger. So yeah, that Greater Spire is just about to be completed. Looks like we could maybe see some Broodlords, but again, those take so long to come out, and Nadagast is on the offensive.
Corruptors ready, so he's just now morphing him in. He's morphing in 9 right now. I think he still has more Corruptors that he could morph over. He's still got 6 more Corruptors, but he needs this army like right now, as his top expansion is going to be taken out, and then he's just going to move over to the right expansion, and Nadagast is only going to be, or sorry, Syckness is only going to be mining off 1 base after he takes out that right expansion. He knows it's there, and you know, yeah, just going to send just his Marines over to deal with it. Yeah, shoots down a scan as well to see what's up. And yeah, these drones, they can't even escape because they just got to go down the ramp and right by all of those Thors. So these Broodlords are moving out, heading towards the gold expansion, and morphing in some more as well with the Corruptors. The Roaches are down lower.
Position.
Yeah,
placing
definitely.
those Broodlords at.
Yeah, he's going to do major damage with this. This has been such an incredible back and forth map. It is insane. Nadagast is maxed out on a supply. Syckness at 160. But taking out this gold expansion is a brutal blow. And Nadagast is almost mined out in the bottom right. So he's pretty much only got 1 expansion mining right now. But, you know, he's throwing his army forward. I think he's going to say to Syckness, like, cool, I see those Broodlords, but you better stop me from killing your base first, because he is just moving right ahead.
Yeah, these Broodlords, I feel like they were the right choice, but I think you build a few too many. You need to compile them with other units. By themselves, they are vulnerable to Vikings. If you can get those siege tanks in position, not siege tanks, Thors into position, they can do a lot of damage. And here comes just 2 Vikings are going to be able to start picking off these Broodlords so quickly. There's no other forces at all for Syckness here. Looks like Syckness has decided that it is time for some sort of crazy all-in play with all of his drones, but I don't think there's anything he can do because these Vikings are just really quickly whittling down this Broodlord number, and Syckness has no anti-air left.
Yeah, it's a bit of a base trade, but with 5 more Vikings on the way, you know, these 2 Vikings are doing good work. They're not exactly cutting through them like butter, but it's, you know, a process that's not going to end in Syckness's favor.
Absolutely. Yeah, and now, oh god, these Broodlords are going to melt so quickly. GG is imminent in this game as the hive of Syckness is now finally getting taken down after all of his other bases that were taken down first. Syckness is saying, I'm going to hold on just a little bit longer. I do not want to lose this map. I really could use a tasty NVIDIA GTX 460. So
yeah, and of course
matters.
With this, best of 5 series, you know, this puts him on the brink of elimination. Players have certainly done it before, have come back from 2 maps down, but it's going to be a tough challenge for Syckness. A couple of mutas coming out to help deal with the Vikings, but certainly not nearly enough. He has to throw his spawning pool down again. You know, it's just not going to end well for you.
And you know, actually, neither of them are mining right now at all. Basically, I mean, the Syckness actually is mining a little bit from that top base, so he is in the lead in terms of income. But now that these Broodlords are down, he has nothing to stop this mech from busting through, which it will do in just a few seconds. I can't imagine any possible way to come back here.
41 supply to 192. Yeah, he's GG's. He knows what's up.
Nice try, though. Good effort.
Yeah, I mean, that was an insane map. You know, obviously he should have put that game away a little bit earlier, but was a tough situation, and Nadagast fought back very valiantly. Smeagol and Shedder, give us your thoughts. Syckness just told me he'd BRB, so we might have a little bit of a short delay before we start this 3rd map.
All right, thanks, guys. Yeah, go ahead, Jeff.
Well, everybody likes a comeback. You know, it was on the brink of the end there, and if it was me, considering that I lost all of the harvesters contributing to my economy, I probably would have thrown in the towel. But that margin, like you guys were talking about, that little marginal effort and that little marginal 2 Marauders plus 1 tank made all the difference, and he was able to come back and win the game.
Yeah, by far the longest map that we've seen thus far in the tournament, and certainly the most tactically interesting at every single point along the way. There were at least 3 or 4 points where if Nadagast's army composition had just been a little different, it would have been GG. Like that one instance where they were fighting over the center gold that was closest to Nadagast's main on his side of the map. If he hadn't brought those 3 Thors into the game at that point, it was over. There were multiple instances of that where it was just that was the difference. So it
seemed like also that Syckness got complacent after that initial moment where he should have almost won the game. It seemed like Nada was scrapping the whole time. There was pressure, a lot of pressure on him the rest of the game, and then at the very end, you started to feel that it was going more in his favor towards the last few minutes. It seemed like Syckness almost fell into a little bit of complacency, and that Nada began to dictate the terms of the game, and that Syckness wasn't reading him well enough and responding well enough to the mixture of units that Nada had. He like kept throwing in different units, and it seemed like it was every time he switched, it was a little bit too little, too late.
Yep. I agree. But
you know,
also,
I would pose a question right now. What could Syckness have done to counter that force? Thinking just about the early gameplay, it's not really reasonable to get out Broodlords. You know, we're just waiting for Syckness to come back from a potty break or something. So we're going to do a little bit extra analysis. I'm not sure what kind of early game units we could have seen from Syckness to counter that play. The Zerglings wouldn't have worked because of the Hellions and the Marines. Obviously, Roaches didn't work out so well. What early Zerg units? I mean, Hydras get melted by tanks as well. So just a really brilliant mix of units, I think, by Nadagast right there. And I'm going to have to cut this a little short because it looks like we're just about to go into Game 3. The potential final game of the night is upon us. It's all, for all the beans and all the NVIDIA GTX 460s. Remember that the second place finisher will be getting a Patriot memory 60 gigabyte solid state drive. So both of these players have won something tonight. But this is the final match. Potentially, Syckness has to win this, or he's out of the running. And again, please tell your friends about this. We've been very happy to bring extra StarCraft 2 content to the scene this week. It's been a lot of fun. We really appreciate everyone who's tuned in. I know that Day 9 Daily should be ending anytime now, so get your friends to filter on in here once that Day 9 Daily ends. And let's hope for Syckness to win this map, because I'd like to see a few more rounds in the docket tonight.
Yeah, without a doubt. And we have the long positions on Shakur's Plateau here, which definitely makes for an interesting game. The side-to-side positions mean you can pressure quite a bit with the rocks, and we saw a very interesting game between Syckness and Jaeger in that situation. But also, these players played the same matchup and in the same positions last night. Isn't that correct? Think so?
Yeah, but I don't think so. No, I think they were both on the same. I think they were both on the bottom of the map. I seem to remember a slow push through these destructible rocks, but I could be thinking of another game. I'm not quite sure. Either way, they have spawned far positions, which does definitely favor the Zerg player in this matchup.
Yeah, definitely. And we'll see, again, the strategies that the players choose to go for. Syckness is waiting for that 300 mineral count and going to throw down the 14 hatch and probably, again, follow it up with the 15 supply. His drone coming in and trying to do the harass on the SCV in the bunker. And another SCV pulled over to counterattack him and dealing good damage. Syckness moving in here, sees there's no reactor yet. Not too telling. And with these long positions, maybe we'll see another early expansion from Nadagast. He's throwing the supply depot down there to make sure to block the drone in the base. Not going to be able to get away. Yep. Oh, and Syckness actually, or sorry, yes, excuse me, Nadagast actually just still does not know where Syckness is, just scouted the top left and did not find him there. So now he's shifting over to the bottom left.
Yeah, Nadagast making his way into his opponent's base. He's going to see the same thing he saw in the last couple of games when he finally did get around to scouting. Pretty late pool once again as the expansion was thrown down first. And yeah, quite early expansion again for Nadagast, a 1 Rax expand. Probably a good play on this very large map.
Mm-hmm.
I personally like to throw down Hellions on this map as well, so I don't think we're going to see any deviation in Nadagast's play. I think we're going to see some Hellions here as well. And yeah.
Oh, okay. Throwing down a bunker at the base of his second ramp. Very easy to defend your second expansion here with those ramps so close together, and especially in these long distances. 2 Zerglings chasing the lone SCV in the middle of the map, all the way back home.
So double refinery for Nadagast. I think that's so he can get out that factory as soon as possible. It's pretty interesting timing he has in this build. Factory, there we go. Factory is down and the command center is just about to be done as well. So Nadagast is going to have plenty of food. I'd expect to see either a 1, 2, 3, 1 Rax, 1 factory, 1 starport, or another Rax get thrown down in just a second here.
Another factory.
Another factory. I was wrong on all accounts. What else is new?
Quite all right. It is certainly going to be interesting. Floating this barracks over just to make it a little bit closer to the ramp and a little bit less run time for his troops, throwing down the reactor on it as well. So going to be sticking with Marines to complement his Hellions. And throwing down a tech lab. He'll probably just get that blue flame upgrade again and spit out a bunch of Hellions in order to harass the Zerg player very early, and then transition over to higher tech.
Let's say the world of Shakur's Plateau has some odd-looking plants on it, that's for sure. But that's yeah. I'm actually surprised we haven't seen a starport get thrown down. I think we probably will see a starport next, unless Nadagast is going to start to get very aggressive. Having those medevacs up really does help quite a bit. Actually, interesting, Nadagast is floating his racks from where he built. Oh, yeah, that's right. In comes the factory to the reactor. So I think now that Blue Flames is about halfway researched, we're going to see a ton of Hellions come out, just like old times. But actually, already 2 out. I actually missed that. 2 Hellions out on the field are gonna start to creep towards his enemy base. Just gonna hold on to the Zell Naga Tower for now.
Yeah, armory going down as well, and I think definitely the early vehicle upgrades have played an important role in Nadagast's victories in the first 2 maps. You know, just getting his units to be ahead in the upgrade game, and then just also being a higher, more efficient tech than what his opponent is running. Yeah, he's got 2 Hellions coming right now. And actually that was out of both factories, so he could spit out another 2 more. Actually just a little short on minerals, and he's got a pretty sizable force of Hellions here. Like 6 out on the field right now.
Yeah, so having all these go-karts with flamethrowers on them out on the field. Sorry, I'm just borrowing something from chat. It was good. I enjoyed it. What this allows Nadagast to do, he's already building his 2nd expansion right now. It's almost 3/4 the way done. So what these Hellions are going to allow him to do is it's going to allow him to contain his opponent. He's going to Syckness, Nadagast's brother, is going to think that Nadagast is gearing up for a push at any time. He's going to have to play defensively because these Hellions are so maneuverable, and it's going to allow him to expand probably to this sort of 1 o'clock-ish position. I believe that's probably where he's going to go. He might even go behind these destructible rocks.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. It would be a smart decision, since he could just float it over there, and any expansion that the Zerg has to make, it'd be quite a while before he could float one into the middle gap. So it'd be a very secure location, especially for an early 3rd expansion from a Terran player. Moving out with his Hellions a little bit, and going to see what he can scout. Going to find these 5 roaches and play a little footsie with him. Getting around him though.
Oh, he's going to meet it.
Stop by the Zerglings. Great stuff there.
Actually, a great sandwich play right there. There was a spine crawler at the top of the ramp. Those Zerglings pretty much blocked the Hellions from doing anything, and then in came the roaches from the back. So actually, a very, very, even though a ton of Zerglings were roasted in that ordeal, very favorable play for our Zerg player. Nonetheless, Nadagast is going to continue to pump out these Hellions, also getting the +1 ground upgrades. Yeah, over looking at the production tab, we've actually got way more upgrades than we're used to seeing for our Zerg player. Looks like we've got the Zerg melee attacks, the Zerg ground carapace, the burrow, centrifugal hooks for the banelings, and the glial reconstitution, which is something that I have no idea what it is. I don't play Zerg. Somebody tell me what that is.
That's a roach upgrade.
Okay, got it. Understood.
It's for faster speed, I believe. Yeah, it's their speed upgrade.
Got it.
The 3rd expansion getting harassed now by just a couple of mutas, but killing off those mules, which actually it makes a really big difference. I mean, that's 50 energy, and that's also like something like 270 minerals per mule. That's what they get you. So destroying those is certainly very helpful to Syckness's cause. He's going to have to be able to put early pressure on this expansion of Nadagast. I mean, he's thrown down a 4th himself. You got to stay ahead of the game, the expansion game as a Zerg player. You know, gotta stop the Terran from going crazy with his own expansions, because all of those orbital commands, all those mules, is just really brutal.
Ouch, these mutas are having no such luck in the back of Nadagast's main base. Turrets are up, Thors are up with upgrades, so almost all of those mutas are going to die or be very nearly killed. It's very important to use those mutas to harass as much as possible. They're not great attacking units, but Zerg, you know, if you see your Terran opponent getting 3 bases so early, and when you're still only on 3 operational bases, you know that you're behind economically, so you have to do something at least to negate that. But it looks like Syckness is going to be able to probably take down these Hellions. one way or the other. Hellions still putting on pressure, still being very annoying, and that's a lot of banelings being morphed.
Wow, and Syckness has actually dropped another expansion, and then to top that off, he has a third hatchery in between those top left expansions. So he's actually got 6 hatcheries right now, which is an insane amount of larvae. So he's definitely going to be building his army size very quickly, although Nadagast still has the lead by 10 right now. So interesting. Wow,
so
those supplies counting. Go ahead.
Our third co-host, aka the stream chat, is pointing something out that I did not notice. Syckness is building up a little bit of a trust fund. He actually had 1,600 minerals there for just a second.
Wow.
So Syckness not exactly macroing up properly at this point. Also still has not saturated that top base that he has just now gotten up either. So he's a little bit behind on his macroing. He still has over 1,000 minerals, but actually he's almost maxed out.
Yeah.
Looking over, both players actually, if you go to the army tab right now, are at almost identical food. So it's all going to come down to micro and unit composition in this next battle.
Definitely, and Syckness just maxed out a little bit earlier than Nadagast, pushing some of those minerals we were talking about. Still pretty low on Vespene gas. I'm gonna have to get that rolling at a couple more of his expansions, and throwing down 2 extractors at the top left expansion of his, and still not moving out. Maxed out army, so time to throw some units out there and do some damage. Nadagast actually does not have siege mode at all and is not researching it. Wow. That's,
okay, interesting. That's probably a mistake. That's a lot of siege tanks to not have siege mode.
Yeah, these banelings are going to eat these Marines up. And he's looking to siege right now, I'm sure. Wow, a wall of Marines going down to banelings. These Thors and siege tanks aren't going to last long this time. Thor going down, and only like 5 Marines. Well, only 3 mutas, so the anti-air isn't too important, but the units of Nadagast just melting away, and he's pushing in hard. Still no siege tech going out. So this expansion of Nadagast, the 3rd expansion, is going to be going down quite easily. Just a ton of roaches. Get pressure from behind, splitting up a little bit, but still with 6 roaches pounding away at that orbital command. And siege tanks having to retreat back towards the ramp. Picks off one of them, picks off another marauder, and just a ton of roaches, keeping up the pressure and keeping up the 200 army. So with that huge battle, this is just definitely going to be Syckness's game, I do believe. He's throwing down a greater spire as well, so he's going to be a little bit earlier with his tech switch.
Here comes siege tech in just a second here. Oh no, not able to take these siege tanks back in time. But the roach numbers are going to get dwindled down. Actually, a bunch of SCVs coming into the fray. And actually, the Greater Spire is going up a little bit earlier in this game, so that actually might become a much more effective counter to the Thors. Now that it's coming up a little bit early, actually, Nadagast forced to lift off his expansion here in the, I don't know, whatever you call this, 4:30 o'clock position. So actually a ton of siege tanks doing a ton of damage to the Zerg army there. Again, roaches with +2 attack, or +2 carapace, but no added attack bonus, are not going to do well against mech. I'm not sure about this baneling roach army for Syckness right now. I don't think it's the right choice against primarily siege tanks, Thors with a little bit of bio sprinkled in.
Greater Spire is up, but unlike last game, he prepared with a ton of corruptors as soon as that finished. Now he's just starting to get some corruptors out. These siege tanks again doing insane damage. A couple of banelings coming in, doing good work. Now it's just down to his roaches to finish this off. He's up against 1 Thor as his main opposition there. Another starport going down for Nadagast. Perhaps he realizes that the Broodlords are the next logical choice for his brother's Syckness. Lifting off this top expansion once again, stopping mining. The right expansion as well, actually in the middle of morphing to a planetary fortress. So he's going to have to cancel that to lift it off. And now Syckness is doing a fantastic job harassing his opponent and using a better mix of units, although we still would like to see perhaps a different unit count. He is totally maxed out though, so you know, unless he does some unit trading, he's not going to be able to build a whole lot more units. Perhaps why he's using those banelings so much.
Yeah, that's actually a good point. When you do have a really big economic lead and you are maxed out on food, banelings become more effective. It's only when they are your main army composition and you cannot rebuild quickly that banelings are not useful. Again, these roaches are not good against this mech, but nonetheless, still forcing them in, and a couple of broodlords are actually about to be done. It looks like Syckness has enough anti-air. Hopefully he doesn't make all of those into broodlords, otherwise some Vikings could be pretty brutal. Actually, but no, when I look at the production tab, looks like no Vikings are en route, so these broodlords are going to start doing a ton of damage right here, right now, and that's GG.
Yeah, GG.
Takes the first map off his brother. Wowza.
That was a great game as well.
You know, that you could call that a somewhat premature GG maybe, but I think he saw those broodlords and noticed how big Syckness's army truly was, and it was time to GG. Shedder, Smeagol, what's going on your end?
Thanks for six. Well, let's please note Syckness is on the board after losing 5 straight to Nadagast between yesterday and today's matches. Finally on the board here. It was a good match. We saw that flip over to the broodlords a little bit earlier, which I think is you know, immediately when Nadagast saw those broodlords coming in, it was GG. It was over. And you know, we got into the match that we just saw just a little bit before I was able to make that point. I wanted to tag that in on last match's comments. I think if he would have gotten those broodlords in earlier, tide might have turned a little bit earlier for him in map 2, and so it was good to see that he also made that connection, brought the broodlords out earlier instead of just constantly cranking out roach after roach after roach wave. But anyway, those are my thoughts. Jeff?
Yeah, I mean, that was kind of a clusterfuck. I don't know what happened with the lack of the siege mode, but that seemed to put a big dent in the process for Nada.
I've done that, and it is not a good feeling.
Yeah.
It is not a good feeling when you're like, okay, I'm ready to go.
Even if he'd gotten it right then, and when he had those like 2 tanks, and he could have taken out that army and defended his expansion a little more, it might have made the difference. But
no, it is such a sinking feeling, because you know you're so screwed. You've just given up at least 1,000, maybe 1,500 minerals worth of crap because you did not push gimme siege mode. So
like realizing 24 hours before an exam that you haven't studied as much as you really need to.
Indeed.
Except worse. I guess relatively worse.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is.
Yeah, you don't die when you fail a test, but in this case,
you might.
Right? It just messes your chances of getting into grad school.
Yeah.
Yay.
Yay.
Yeah. So I think that was kind of a big mistake. Definitely. But this is the kind of situation, like I talked about complacency. This is something that plagues athletes. It plagues gamers. I've seen it time and time again across all games, across all competitions. No matter what sort of competition, you get the advantage, and then you start making stupid mistakes, and you can't let that happen. You have to be psychologically strong, and you can't make a stupid mistake like that, because now he's opened the door back up. You know, he's allowed that one game, and now the doubt's going to creep in a little bit more. Maybe that will make him do better. Sometimes people do well when their back's up against the wall. Like in this situation, it seems as if he took his foot off the gas just a little bit, and he's going to have to play a clean game if he wants to claim the victory. And it's how bad do you want that graphics card at this point?
Yeah. All right, map number 4, we're loading in right now. Back to you guys.
Alrighty, Zelnaga Cavern is the map. Nadagast getting the choice of map after losing that map, and Syckness coming back into this series. This is certainly Syckness is still facing elimination, so he's got to fight to win it.
Absolutely, and thanks everyone for joining us once again. Let your friends know about this StarCraft Showdown Championship match. This is potentially the last map of the night. If Syckness does not take another victory, the NVIDIA GTX 460 will be going to his brother, Nadagast. again, the concept of this tournament is that, you know, Shedder, the guy behind production, and Xtine both come from the TF2 community. And actually, there are a number of quite talented StarCraft players from that very TF2 community, such as Torch, Nadagast, Syckness, and Jaeger. So we've put together a little 4-man thingy thing, just for the fun of it, just to get a little bit more StarCraft action out there. And
is that a technical term, thingy thing?
It is now. Beyond that. But
I'm so glad you called
that. Yeah. I'm not happy about that, Shedder. You shouldn't call out my
I'm sorry.
But anyway, NVIDIA and Patriot Memory have sponsored the prizes for this awesome little tournament. It looks like Syckness this time is going to be going for another hatch first, possibly. You know, in the previous days of tournament coverage, we saw Syckness go a really early pool quite a few times, but not one single time in this matchup is he going an early pool. Maybe he knows his brother's style of play a little too well. He knows that his brother also favors that early expansion. But either way, that hatchery has begun, and the pool will be dropped as soon as Syckness has 200 minerals.
Yeah, I think it's interesting about his different openings that he's used, because he said after that first day that he goes, oh, well, that's the opening that I use against Protoss. And I feel like there's a lot of strengths to that 11 Overlord with the extractor trick and the spawning pool going down. But he hasn't really faced a whole lot of early aggression from his brother, so you're right. It also might just be a play choice considering his opponent.
And again, Xel'Naga Caverns does have slightly long rush distances, so you know it's not like Steps of War or anything where you're totally afraid of that early rush. But again, it's also not exactly easy to defend that natural expansion. It is quite wide open. However, Nadagast has, as his brother may have predicted, gone for the 1 Rax expand strategy once again.
Yeah.
Putting himself in a little bit of a vulnerable position, but it seems to have paid off in every game so far. And again, with the double refineries as well, so it looks like he's going to be going towards that factory tech as soon as possible.
Yeah, I think that's a really great decision when you see that the Zerg player is going for the hatchery. You know, he can get enough Marines out with just that one barracks. And I also like how he holds off on building reactors until he throws that command center down, and then switching over to both reactors up, refineries up, and just grinding away a bunch of gas. We'll probably see factory going down as he crosses that 100 threshold. You see, it's like he's already got 3 Marines out, and his brother, Syckness, really only has those 2 scouting Zerglings. So no hope of early aggression from the Zerg player. And Nadagast just going to continue to do his thing, get his Marines, get his bunker at the base of his ramp, and looks like maybe now, second factory, so going for that Hellion play again. But he transitions it really well, and that's what I think is really interesting. You know, bringing the Hellions in, but then also moving towards the Thors, and also, of course, the siege tanks. But I'm sure he won't forget the siege technology this game.
Well, we can only hope. Like I said in the previous maps, getting that +1 attack for your mech as a Terran player is something I have not really done in my play. It's something I haven't really seen very much in pro play either, but it allows him to seamlessly transfer into siege tanks and Thors after he pumps out a few Hellions in the early game. So once again, the Infernal Pre-Igniter is being researched for Nadagast, and roaches are being made for Syckness. These guys have tried and true strategies that they really like to do, because we have hardly seen any deviation in these matches so far.
And Syckness has 6 roaches and a good number of Zerglings.
Wow,
I think he's going to feel comfortable just walking around here. He's going to stop the expansion. He's going to have to confront the bunker. But he's just going to try and lure what he can and use these roaches actually to pinpoint fire at that barracks. With the Marauder coming out, that's about it for troops, though, is a Marauder and Hellions.
Ooh, Hellions actually getting by.
Speedlings coming after him, kind of cornering off. Good work with these roaches. Speedlings getting dragged into that bunker though, and now he feels like he's got enough roaches that he wants to take this bunker out, get rid of those Marines that are in there. These Hellions are very low on health, and actually SCV's coming down to repair him mid-battle. Great stuff there. And just the one Hellion out here. He's put a halt on this expansion by this early aggression. You know, and actually the second orbital command is simply building SCVs. That's it. And SCVs again getting pulled off the mining line to do some repairs. Siege tank coming out though, which is going to be very helpful. Of course, this barracks with Tech Lab is going to fall, and that's his only barracks.
Yeah, actually, really interesting that I think a little bit of Am I lagging out?
We cleared up.
Are they in the same house or something? I knew they're brothers, but I didn't know they lived at home. So actually, yeah, I'm a little disappointed in some of the choices there by Syckness. I think he could have focused down this Rax a long time ago and not have been dealt any damage to those roaches. One thing to always keep in mind is that dealing damage and keeping all of your units alive is always better than I mean, well, not always. Of course, you can move in for the final push, the final showdown, and try to get the win like that. But if you can just gain little advantages like taking down this Rax without losing anything, then you should almost always take that opportunity, in my opinion. At this point, he's just lost so many roaches without really dealing enough damage to make it worthwhile.
Yeah, I mean, he's got Nadagast on the back foot, and that's what he wants to try and deal this blow. That's why he keeps coming in here. Barracks going on fire right before he lifts off, which is helpful, but now he's got Siege Tech up, and I think he's going to put a stop to this aggression unless Syckness really has enough troops, but I don't think he quite does. I mean, he's rallying them up there. He's got maybe 7 roaches total, 8 roaches, and a decent amount of Zerglings. Actually, still more units coming up. Switched over to drones. It'll be interesting to see what he does with his next batch of larvae that are on their way. Right now, just getting more drones and more Hellions coming out from Nadagast.
Hellions coming into behind the natural expansion of his brother Syckness right now. Actually, haven't managed to kill too many drones just yet. Getting those roaches back just in the nick of time to defend those Hellions. Those Hellions were the purpose of them was greatly served, though, in my opinion. Nadagast was able to push, at least temporarily push Syckness all the way back home. Nadagast has a ton of SCVs, way more than he should have on one base, so as soon as he gets these siege tanks into position, he's going to be able to transfer over that orbital command and start mining very heavily from 2 bases.
Yeah, building a bunker up again, and then a couple supply depots as well, just to kind of make it a longer chain. I mean, also obviously to relieve the supply block that he has going on right now. 70 of 70 for Nadagast, and Syckness at 60 army. Yeah, I saw that SCV count, absolutely insane. I think Syckness will definitely be a little bit surprised by that. I'm not sure if he ever did scout the second command center. I mean, he probably figured it was there. But that is a really big jump, and now all those SCVs transferring down to the lower expansion base. He's going to be mined out fairly soon from his main, though, which is definitely going to be an advantage that helps out Syckness. But again, 6 Hellions starting to work their way down the bottom of the map, and going to see the expansion on that bottom right location. And coming in, the roaches are onto it a little bit, but the Hellions are just running past them and frying some drones. This is going to be very successful harass. Hellions are now moving up to the upper base. They're going to see the Baneling nest go down, and a huge distraction here, and definitely hampering the harvester count for Syckness. Finally starting to trap those Hellions, but our harvester count is 52 for Nadagast and 25 for Syckness. So he's just doing a really great job harassing, and also Syckness has just kind of been shooting himself in the foot by concentrating too much on trying to harass, trying to get out there, trying to do damage, but you know, just killing units for not enough damage, as you were saying earlier.
And no Evo chamber, well, excuse me, take it back. There's one Evo chamber out on the field. It has not begun to upgrade a damn thing yet. We do have centrifugal hooks being upgraded in the Baneling's Nest, and finally the first Zergling attack speed for all melee units is being upgraded. But Syckness does have his third base up. However, he is so far behind in Harvesters that he's going to have to spend the next couple of minutes only droning if he wants to actually make use of this third base right here. So, you know, this is actually an opportunity for Nadagast to start compiling a huge army. A couple upgrades, key upgrades, are going to go down in the near future as well. A +1 is already down for the tech, and +1 is also going down for the bio of Nadagast. So in comes a huge amount of Hellions. Oh my god, so many Hellions coming. I think the Artosis impression is not going to be so many Balians, but so many Hellions. Those Hellions are going to be able to take down this queen in actually no time, something you don't hear very often. But keeping this huge force of Hellions out is sort of analogous to Muta play. Again, they're not very good as strong battling units, but they're really, really good at gaining map control and harassing workers. So great use of those Hellions throughout the entire course of this series.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, he basically kept Syckness's army tied in and at home. You know, so eliminating the amount of recon that he's actually getting out there to see what's going on. Syckness is doing a good job spreading his creep, but Nadagast has a huge army by that gold base that he's taking.
Not again.
And, wow, yeah. Getting eaten up by some Banelings going after these Hellions, and just one Hellion left gets finished off. But I really like the army of Nadagast, and I think, again, like, Syckness has fallen behind in the tech battle. I mean, you were talking earlier about all those upgrades that Nadagast had going for his units. I mean, the 1-in-1 upgrades for his vehicles, his infantry upgrades, now dropping infantry armor and vehicle plating. Actually, sorry, it was his ground weapons that he had. I clicked on the Thor, and I was thrown off by the two weapons there. A couple mutas going down, but I mean, it seems like in the games where he's slow to tech, he ends up losing them. The game where he was really quick with his tech, he actually was able to win because his units in the early game had more survivability. And this third expansion is gonna go down with all of these siege tanks. Smeagol also saying there's a drop on the left side, still a bit out from the main base. We'll have to keep an eye on that. Easily taking out that third expansion. The drop's starting to move in here, right by the Roach Warren, and the Marines coming out. He's going to deal a lot of damage to the drone count of his opponent, and you know, Nadagast already has a really big lead in that department. Now it is 70-48, and that's the GG already. Wow.
What a beautiful, beautiful three-pronged attack coming around with the Hellions, then moving to Syckness's third base. And simultaneously doing a drop as well. Nadagast expertly executing that game. That's basically a clinic on Z versus T right there. Force your opponent to do something crazy, like build too many roaches, and then tech to counter that perfectly. Well done. That will conclude our coverage of the Starcraft Showdown. Thank you so much for tuning in. I'm going to bring in our hosts, Shedder and Smeagol. What's up, guys?
I thought we concluded. Oh, okay. Okay. Well, no, that was a good game. I like that at the end there. I mean, he definitely had the advantage in general, Nada, but I like that he sort of ticked all the boxes, I would say, in that last battle, and he had the Marines coming in, and there was no getting out of it then at that point. He just put the stranglehold down, and I like that he was still thinking on that level. Even so late in the game, he didn't get complacent, and that was his error in the second game. So there's a little bit of a developmental process there that I like to see.
Thank you. Is my mic muted? Sorry.
No, you're good.
Oh, okay. Yeah, thank you. Thanks for hosting the tournament.
Yeah,
It was really fun.
What happened? Why did you not have Siege Tech in the second map? The last one.
I thought I hit it. I thought I researched it like way earlier, When I first saw his roaches, I tried to start researching Siege, but I guess I didn't have enough gas or something, and I didn't notice. So I thought I had it when I was pushing out into mid, and then I tried a Siege during the battle, and yeah, didn't really work out. Yeah, nothing happened. And I'm like, what the hell? Yeah. 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 It's really, yeah, it was rough. As soon as I saw that, I was like, oh god, this is going to be a hard game because my entire army got demolished then.
Yeah, it was a strong play by Syckness on that one, getting the Broodlords out a little bit earlier. Were you surprised at your brother's army composition, or were you afraid of more mutas? How did you feel about that Shakuris game? You think if you had siege mode and if that middle battle had gone your way, you would have been able to take it? Or do you think your brother just outplayed you on that map? That's to Nadagast.
Oh, I don't know. I mean, it's hard. It's really hard to say because StarCraft is such a dynamic game. I think it would have been an even game probably. I don't know. I'd have to watch the replay and see, what our armies looked like when they started fighting. But even if I had siege, he did catch me really at a bad time for me. I was not expecting him to attack me there, so I wouldn't have been sieged until I saw him coming in anyway. So he would have at least done some good damage, I think, with that attack, or with that, attacking my attack.
Yeah, definitely. Let's talk to your brother Syckness for a little bit. Congratulations on winning that solid-state hard drive from Patriot Memory.
Thanks.
And I want to talk about Xel'Naga Cavern a little bit. That push of yours in the beginning, did you feel like you almost had him? You seemed like you piled on the pressure, and then you just weren't quite able to finish it, and that hampered you in the rest of the game.
Yeah, I decided just to go with early aggression on that map because the Hellion opener is kind of a little weak to roaches. But he got the blue flame out, and then my lings are pretty much worthless at that point. So I thought I had him almost though for a second there.
You really did, putting the pressure on in a very intense way in the beginning of that map, but it quickly shifted the opposite direction when you realized you had far fewer harvesters than your brother did playing defensively. Yeah. I have a question on Syckness. Watching Nadagast push out that early Hellion pressure and seeing Terrans put out that early Hellion pressure in general these days, seems like that's where the meta game might be shifting in the Z versus T. It kind of forces you to go into roaches, and then he counters that in such a brutal way with heavy tech. If you had any advice to Zerg players dealing with similar builds, what would it be? Obviously, you had a lot of trouble with the heavy tech, but it seems like Nadagast had a lot of control over the early game. How would you see ways for Zerg players to start breaking that control?
Maybe a little more early roach pressure, or maybe just try to hold on until Broodlords come out. I'm not really sure though. It's kind of tough to deal with.
Definitely
From my
seems
experience,
like future.
The best way to handle it is to make a roach den and just make a couple of roaches and a couple of spine crawlers for defense, and just you can either tech to Broodlords, or you can use a lot of Nidus worms, or you can mass up a huge mutaball, or you can go with a huge ground army. But all four of those things are kind of different styles, and you need to, or three, however many things I said. They're all different styles, and you need to practice the specific style that you want to do to beat a biomech army.
All right.
Definitely. Well, thanks for chatting with us, guys. Unless our co-hosts have any further questions for our players.
Well, I have another set of questions for both players here. Nada, I've seen you in MLGs. Syckness, I'm aware that you've been playing as well. But what's the future of the esports career of Nadagast and Syckness? How much time do you dedicate to this kind of stuff? and do you see this being a big part of your life? Let's start with Nadagast.
I don't play enough Starcraft 2 right now because Cataclysm was just released. But normally I like to play a reasonable amount of Starcraft 2. I don't know. I'm probably not going to be like try to like, be like the best player or win GSL or anything. But it's fun to compete and it's fun to play with friends and stuff. So, yeah.
All right, Syckness. How do you see yourself evolving as an esports gamer?
I guess it's kind of similar to what Garrett just said. I'm not putting in, like 10 hours a day or anything, but yeah, it's just fun to compete. There's a lot of cool people in the StarCraft 2 scene, so probably just keep playing somewhat a lot, but not go overboard with it. Just enjoy myself.
All right, great answers. That's probably how I'd do it if I was good enough. But yeah. Any other questions, guys?
I'll take that as I think we're done. So I'll take it from here, gents. Yeah, I want to thank everybody that participated as players here this week. Saw a lot of great matches. Another quick shout out to Torch and Jaeger, who were eliminated and weren't able to participate here in the championship, but they played great all week. And one more thanks out to our championship match players here, Syckness and Nadagast. Yeah, congrats to Naga for taking the championship. Thanks to Fish and X-Time for the great calls all week. A quick shout out to Andy Zoom, who helped me anchor the broadcasts this week as well. And one more quick thanks out to my boy Smeagol here for hopping in and anchoring this championship match here with me. But that's going to be about it, save for one more shout to our sponsors for the event, NVIDIA and Patriot Memory. Big thanks out to those guys. And all you watching, thanks a lot for coming out and watching these this week. We have a YouTube channel now. Hit us up, TGBF Gaming on YouTube. Throw us a subscription, please. But that's about all the plugs I have for the night. We're going to get out of here. Hope you enjoyed it as much as we did, and hope to catch you for the next run of this. We want to do a lot more of these, so look us up, tgbf.tv. For the whole crew here, we're going to sign off for now. Thanks a lot.